So some of the things I want to just talk about up front is from our textbook, what the best college teachers do. What are my main takeaways? What are the things that when have read this book a couple times, what have I learned? What do I try to use? Another way to look at this is what are the so what from your reading. That's some of the things that you should do when you're reading. How does this apply? How can I take this away? How can I use this material as a teacher, and not only just as in this class, but in your other classes in this program? All right, so some of my takeaways. This is from Bain, the Bain book, What the Best College Teachers Do. And as you can see, the first bullet point is focus your class on big questions, big ideals. That's why I'll have questions throughout our class. What are we trying to answer here? What are we trying to get to? What's the main point of this class? Again, our class, big question is how do we design our classes for optimal learning, motivation, and student engagement? We'll talk just a bit. What is deep learning? So we want to design our classes so students aren't just doing superficial learning, which means you can cram for a test, pass the test, and forget it, never remember. We want to promote learning where students are changed. We'll use a term that came from our Bible verse. Then the first one is they're transformed in their learning and their understanding, in their values, the way they think, the way they act. That's what we really want to do when we're designing courses. We'll talk about in our class to promote learning goals where we want, and I want you as the student in this class, but as you as a teacher, to promote learning goals which our students aren't just trying to pass a test. I'm just trying to add up some points so I can get a certain grade. We want the students to want to learn, to have this material in their life for the rest of their life. So students just don't see it as just a box to check and to get done. And we do that by tying the material that we're going over in our class to areas of interest for the student. And I'm hoping that I'll do that in this class. Is what are your areas of interest in this particular topic? Hopefully, and since this is a master's program, that the material is already an area of interest for you, then we can make it even more specific to areas of interest for you. The next area is with doing grading. I don't even like grading, to be honest with you. I'd rather not have to give you a grade. I'd rather not have to do anything. I don't mind reading your papers and giving you feedback, but the tediousness of, well, this paper is an 80 out of 100. Just the whole point value and assigning you an arbitrary grade, to me, is not the best method. I don't even think we should have grades. Classes should be pass fail, credit no credit. You either get it or you don't get it. And it's mastery. You should master the material. I should give you more opportunities on assignment. And that's one disadvantage of us having an accelerated grad program, is that sometimes we can't have a mastery approach at times. And I don't like that. It's just unfortunate that's just the way it is. But I don't like it. I'd rather give you opportunity to redo assignments several times so you can be successful, because isn't that the goal, is that you master the material? I just don't pile on for things. Other takeaways from the Bain book is get to know you. I should know you well and know what your areas of interest are, and that's some of the reasons why I'll be doing some of the forums in this class. We'll talk about that. I should not only know you, the student, I should also know my topics very well. It's my responsibility to be prepared to teach. And one of the things that Bain talks about in his text is that excellent teachers view their class preparation as just as important as their scholarship. Now, on the university and college level, that is a critical statement, because a lot of times at the college level, university level, in order to get tenure and be promoted as a college professor, you have to do scholarship, which is journal article writing, publishing, or presenting at national conferences, getting grants, and all those type of things. So what Bain is saying is that the excellent college professors are doing those things, but they also see that preparing to teach and teaching is just as important as those scholarship activities, and that's a big thing in the higher ed area. The excellent teachers also expect students to learn and grow through the experience. Again, that's the transformation of a student in their way they think. They think and they act in the area in their discipline, but they also think beyond just their area of their discipline. One of the reasons why this master's program is a master's of arts is we're trying to have our students think more globally and broadly than just, it is kinesiology, but also more broadly. And even with us as athletic trainers, thinking beyond just athletic training, but thinking about some of the areas that we've talked about in our kinesiology area and in sports and beyond. I hope that I can create a learning environment in this class, and not only just in this class, I hope as the program director that I promote learning environments where we can learn together. That's one of the reasons why we do so many forums in this graduate program. If this was a face-to-face class, we would do a lot of class discussions, so we can help one another, build trustful, meaningful relationships with one another, and come to a point where I quote unquote am the expert, but we all are peers, and we're all learning together. I hope I can guide you down the path, but I trust each one of you. I understand that each one of you is an expert. Some of you have maybe taught longer than me, have more teaching experience than me, and then some of you have never taught before or have very little teaching experience. Doesn't mean that we can't learn from one another. We're here to help each other learn and get to the point of answering that question and the other questions too, so you'll be a better teacher by the time you're done teaching this or taking this class. This last bullet point I wish I was better at, which is developing more elaborate evaluation methods. I'm trying some new things in this class, so we'll see how those work, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I get to the actual syllabus, talking about some of the assignments. But it shouldn't just be, you get 1,000 points and you get an A. It needs to be a little bit more elaborate and richer way that we determine if you have learned anything through the class. Again, we're trying to get to mastery. You have mastered the topics that we're trying to get to.